The world of marketing and PR has turned into quite the frenzy, and it's not easy to navigate the ever-changing landscape. Join me in my journey to learn from the best, as some of the world's top marketing and PR professionals share their stories on ways you can harness these changes to grow your brand. It's time to fuel the frenzy. Well, it's fantastic to be back today on our podcast. Thank you to our listeners and our watchers for joining. I'm really excited. I have another phenomenal guest joining the Fuel the Frenzy podcast. Welcome to Mike Fazio. I was going to sing that. I said I might sing it earlier, but I'm not going to sing it. I've decided I'm going to say very serious. Welcome, Mike, to the show.
Thank you very much, Sarah. It's great to be here.
So Mike and I have been colleagues for a while now, actually, in different capacities. Mm-hmm. And Mike is also a good friend of mine, and he is a real expert when it comes to marketing operations, particularly for B2B companies. Now, Mike, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Why don't you explain who you work for now, a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. Mike Fazio. I work for Powwow Mobile. We are an enterprise. Sorry, I just started 3 months ago, and then I came back from San Francisco last night at about 2 a.m. So I'm here. I'm awake. So we are an enterprise mobile app platform, right? So it allows enterprises to take these old legacy gross applications and make them useful for any sort of tablets or phones or even a new desktop in a much more manageable way than recoding the entire application, right? And then you can also build on it, make new applications. It's pretty interesting stuff. Startup out in San Francisco, and marketing team is here in Atlanta.
Yay, Atlanta! Lots of marketing.
Yeah, that's where marketing is. Right?
That's where marketing is right now. Yeah. We are becoming the city of content, apparently, as well as many. Yeah, city of content. Okay. So much content is marketing content is created here, meaning written content, digital content, video content. It's really quite the place to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there it is.
So you're in the right place.
And Sarah's here too, so that actually helps out.
Thank you. So Powwow Mobile, actually, they have got quite a name for themselves. I hear the name pop up quite a lot. So you're obviously doing some great things. I know you haven't been there long, but you're obviously making some traction.
Yeah, the 3 months has been great. Yeah. No, we're hitting the ground running pretty hard. It's a great technology, a great company. And so we really want to make a big impact. So
that's great. So I would love for you to share with us. I know we talked earlier about some of the things you're really involved in, not just at Powwow Mobile, but previous companies. And I know lead generation has been basically your world for many, many years. Yeah. And I would love for you to explain kind of your experience in lead generation, particularly the kind of customer touch points. I think a lot of marketing professionals, there are so many touch points that we know across the buyer's journey. And how do you handle that first touch point? And, what is, maybe you can share some insight of your experience and some of these kind of customer touch points and that first touch point that you have with the customer at the beginning of their buyer's journey.
Yeah. That's something that I think, especially the B2B space, can learn from the B2C marketers, right? So I've always thought, being in B2B marketing, that the B2C people had it easy, right? It's sort of here's a big mass audience, and I can throw a bunch of stuff at them and be a little bit more, hip and cool and whatever. What we've found, I think, in the B2B market is that you can learn some things from B2C. So
very true.
One of those things is something that I actually learned about. It was about a year ago here in Atlanta. A few buddies from a previous company came up to Salesforce Connections, which is now part of their bigger Dreamforce conference. But it was the first one in Atlanta. It was just a fun show with a lot of different speakers. And one of the themes that we heard a lot was about welcome series of emails, right? And the welcome series was initially people were talking about it from new customers. So you get a new customer to sign up for your product or your service, and you send them a series of emails that introduces the service and best practices, some tips, whatever. But another interesting part that we took away from that was when new prospects come into your system, into your database, rather than just putting them on a generic nurture track. It's here's content and topics and blah, blah, blah. It was a way for where you set up a series of 3 emails. That's what we did, was 3 emails. That was a conversational tone that said, hey, here's who we are. Here's what you're about to experience from us. Here's here's some content. So specifically what we did was we had the first email was very quick. There's a company called Datacore Software. So, hey, we're Datacore. Thanks for signing up, whatever. Here's a quick video from our CEO and founder, right? And it was a very high level, cool video, probably 2 minutes long.
But straight away, but from the CEO. So
from the CEO.
They get to kind of see who's the the lead of that company, and
Correct.
starting to humanize that first connection point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it puts a face to it, right? It's a conversational tone of the actual the message, and then bam, here's the founder, CEO, I guess a co-founder with the vision of the company, what we're trying to, what they're trying to do in the industry. From there, we went on to more of a self-service. Hey, here's a couple of topics that we think are going to be really useful for you, just because we know the industry, right? Here's some content, and then the third email was more of the list of, really self-service. Here's the blog. Here's the resource center. Here's how to contact us. And then, by the way, if you're interested already and you want to take that next step, here's a demo, right? If you really want to get in deep, right? So we didn't want to exclude people who might be on a fast track to talking to us, but we didn't want to pressure them. We didn't want it to be a sales pitch at the end, right?
Yeah, you're indirectly selling.
Exactly. Yeah. We're educating at that point. We know, hey, a number of these people are never going to come back, right? But the ones who do, we want to make sure that they're getting the right impression of who we are.
Yeah. So do you think it's interesting because, you talk about, I always think you've got to be very careful because that first, especially a video, it's great to give a little bit of insight on the vision for the company. But again, straight away, it's like, how can we help you, Mr. Customer? Isn't it? It's like, showing that you are there as a resource to solve their pain points.
Yeah.
And that's so important. So if that first video really does address that, how can we help you? It's nice to feel that somebody wants to help us when we have a problem.
Right.
And I think setting off that with a great video with a CEO and really humanizing that touch point is a great beginning. How did you keep that going? Because it's interesting. I always find that there's some companies out there, and me personally, I looked to a company called Ellevest. Ellevest is a female financial investment company. So they only focus on women and women who want to invest and create independence for themselves. And it's from the very outset, I was looking back at their email communications yesterday, the first one they sent to me, because they do a very good job where straight away, first of all, they personalize it, and some people don't agree with that. I quite like that. Hi, Sarah. It's like, that's my name. Right. I filled out a form. You at least calling me what my name is.
You should at least know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But they did a very clever thing because as every man and every woman probably knows, women have lots of to-do lists. Okay, men may not have so many, but we have lots of to-do lists. So on this first email, it said, we know you have many things on your to-do list. One of the first things you want to be able to tick off is managing your own financial independence. And straight away, again, they're speaking to women. They're talking about a pain point. We have lots of things on our to-do list. They also know that we like financial independence. I want financial independence. So they start off and they grab you that way. And then their whole email series after that again just ties in some innuendos about being a woman,
right.
And so I like that because now every time that they email me, I feel there's a consistency of message. I feel they're talking to me and they know the concerns that I have. Do you find you try and take that same philosophy?
Yeah, I would love to.
It's not always as easy as it sounds, but
I mean that's a fantastic example of knowing who you're talking to, right? And who and your target persona and their needs and really how to talk to them. So I feel like where we're at with your Media Frenzy, where we're at with Powwow is we're really nailing down our target personas, and I'm hoping that our next step from there is going to be getting some more engaging content specifically for those needs, right?
Yeah.
We have a good idea of the industry needs right now, but when we're talking to somebody, how do we know, the needs of this particular, IT operations person, right? Who is that person? How do we talk to them, right? It's sort of persona based stuff.
But that's why that's why I used to think B2C was so much easier, because we'd say, well, we're all consumers. If I'm selling pet food, well, I get that because I have an animal, so it's easy to relate to. Now it's hard. It's harder in B2B because we're not all that buyer. I'm not an IT buyer, but you're selling to IT buyers. And sometimes, but so doing that research beforehand, and Elevest, like I said, they've done a very good job at knowing who they're talking to. That first touch point, I believe, is very, very important, but it also keeps me loyal. Like when I'm ready to, if I decide to invest or not, I know I'm going to call them.
Right.
It's just, I don't have to even write a note. I know that's the company I'm going to reach out to. So they've just, so it's very clever how they've done that.
Yeah.
So what do you see? I mean, have you seen some great results when you've done a first good customer touch point, like straight away, or, you're humanizing things and you're giving them choices of what content they want to pick? What do you, have you seen a contrast in doing it a different way?
Yes. So that particular welcome series email that I mentioned, the 3 series, that had a higher open and click through rate than I think any other email that we typically would do, right? Besides maybe some partner information, because partners really care about what we're saying. That engagement of hitting somebody, right around the time that they sign up, having the engaging content, having very non-salesy content, right? But you're still setting the stage for sales to come in later, but you're not pressuring them. It's like, hey, we're just here to help, right? That has been, and those people who open and engage with the emails in the beginning continue to engage and open the emails, right? Those who don't, well, you're never going to sell get
to
them
everybody.
out there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you can get rid of them from the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much. It does. It really does show you if they haven't engaged in those first 3 emails, typically like less than 1% will ever open any email from you. Yeah.
So. But it's about the quality, isn't it? It's not about the quantity, especially with the type of size of solutions that you were selling before at the previous company. I mean, those are for people who are really in it. They really want to get educated.
Right.
So what tips can you give to our listeners today, do you think, when it comes to those customer touch points? I mean, you've mentioned some about that, humanizing that first message. But what about, I mean, we're talking about, earlier on before we joined this, about the importance of timing. So say someone downloads that white paper. What do you think? How, what should be the time period when you first reach out?
Yeah, I think borrowing from our sales colleagues, the sooner the better, right? You have to balance it with, if you're downloading a white paper, typically you're going to have an autoresponder email that comes right away. It says, thanks for downloading. Here's the download link in case you need it again, right? I would then give it no more than 24 hours probably after that to say, here's the first welcome email, right? So you get the autoresponder, that's sort of expected, but then your welcome email, oh, what's this? That's cool. It's more information about this company, and not a salesperson trying to call me right away.
Yeah. I find it scary. I mean, I'm sure people have talked about this many times, but I mean, when I was trying to buy a car, and I was looking online at different car places, and then you get that phone call, literally 5 minutes later, and you're like, it's amazing. I take my hat off to you that you've obviously got a really good system set up to do that, but I'm not ready to have a conversation. And isn't the whole sales process supposed to be shortened, that you don't need to speak to somebody now because there's so much online material for us to look at? I don't want to get that phone call straight away. So I wasn't going to buy that brand car.
Right.
I mean, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to be really, really careful. It's a kind of find that fine line between stalking but making people feel good that actually I want to now help you, but in a timely manner.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So first one would be definitely timeliness. So you think kind of within that 24-hour period, get back out to them and show that you're there to offer some help.
That's right.
And I know the second one we're talking about was like the tone and the message. So important.
Yeah. I learned this back in college, actually. So I took a writing for poetry or something like that, which sounds real. I know. Yeah. You had no idea. You didn't know this about me,
no,
Sarah.
I didn't.
No.
We have a Shakespeare on the show
apparently,
today.
yeah. No, I enjoyed the class, but one of the main things that we learned, that we were taught, was you have to find your voice, right? And anybody who's done a lot of writing, okay, what's your voice? And I think your company needs to have a voice.
I agree.
And that needs to show from the first, everything from your website through your emails, and you need to just determine what that is, right?
Yeah.
I like to go more, a little more conversational, especially on emails, but it still has to have that same core of who you are that you see on everything else.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess to give another example of that, and I'm sure many of our listeners have heard of Jason Swenk. Jason Swenk is actually, he's Atlanta-based, and he helps agency owners like myself to really grow their business. So he used to have a business for many years, and now he helps other agency owners. But again, his email communications are so clever because it's purely his voice coming through. And you can, when you watch him on video and then you read his emails, either he has a very phenomenal copywriter, which can capture him and his true essence, or he must be writing it. Yeah. And then he ends every email with "Have a swank day." Now
I don't know that I would personally, choose that one, but it's his stick, right?
But you can't help but forget it. And I'm like,
that's true.
I'm going to have a swank day today.
Yeah.
It's fun, But again, he's just done a really. Now that's easier with smaller companies, isn't it?
With one person.
Yeah. So, well, he's not. There's more than just. Apparently, there's more than just a Jason.
Well, right, but I mean, it's sort of his personality, right? So it's his own cult personality.
Yeah.
The one company that comes to mind, and I this is a free plug because I just love their software, but is Evernote. So Evernote,
you introduced me to Evernote. Yeah, they're very good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Non-paid advertisement there. Yeah. But what their communication is across social and email, and that's all really I've seen from a social and email, but they're a productivity company, right? They're all about how do you and your team be more productive in what you do? How do you organize all your stuff together, and how do you become paperless, right? So they continue that theme throughout everything that they do in a very
clear message, isn't
it? Exactly. It's good.
Simplicity of message, clarity, and again, when you're a big company, and some of the companies you've worked for have been, I've been to them. They're large. It's hard when you're selling lots of things. I get it, but you still got to narrow it down. Like, what's that one challenge you help people overcome, and stick to that message in everything that you do?
Yeah. My VP right now is actually going through has been pounding on this for weeks, and I think she's at a good spot.
Right.
And I don't want to spoil the message. So
don't launch it here.
She's got to just
maybe you should launch it. Why not
tweak
launch
it? I know,
it?
right? Exactly. I'll follow up with her.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be good. It's all about somehow redefining the mobile enterprise. So the words around that would be good, because I think it's really gonna.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So watch this space.
Watch this. It's going to get launched. He's going to come back here and we're going to launch it.
Exactly. It's going to make it happen.
Okay, so we've done respond in 24 hours, your tone and message, set it from the very beginning, really, really clearly, and be simple, very simple messages, like really nail down what it is you offer and deliver that in that first communication, and how you help solve those pain points. And I think the third one, I'm sorry, I'm kind of answering this for you. I'm helping you out here, Mike.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's good. This is how we work. Yeah.
The third one is, you talked about it earlier, choices, giving people a choice when it comes to, again, you're not saying, this is the customer journey you're on only, and I'm going to bombard you down this route. You're allowing people to choose their journey. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a huge piece, and it's something that has gotten easier over the years, especially as marketing technology has gotten better, right? So, previously back when I was first doing email marketing, it was like you blast something out and you hope for the best, right? You measure opens and clicks, and then you assume, okay, great, they care about your content. But now, using Pardot or Marketo, whatever you got, you can send out an email that has a few different links, right? And then based on what they're clicking and actually downloading after that, right? You can put them on an automatic nurture track that gives them more of the information, right? And that's currently what I'm building out right now, is some deeper tracks. So when they hit, we send them email number 2, and it has a couple options. It's one going to tell us, are they more of a technical buyer or are they more of a business buyer, right? So automatically I can bucketize and I can segment them the way you want to go. But again, it gives them all the choices to go and self-serve. Choose your own adventure is what I like to call it.
I like that. You can coin that if you like.
Yeah.
We did something similar for a client where same thing. They sold 3 different levels of solutions, and they had this very big database you might say, database.
Database. I would say database. Yeah.
Database.
Yeah, database.
And they allow people. They actually said to them, what are you interested? Choose your bucket. So it wasn't quite as sophisticated as a Marketo, but it was more like, there's these type of solutions which solve these problems, or there's these, and you tell us which one, and they would actually choose their bucket.
That's cool.
They click, bucket 2, and then bucket 2 now opens up a whole range of different content.
Yeah.
And so they, obviously you've got to make sure you got to have a lot of resources and
right.
That's the challenge, is making sure you've got a lot of content to actually take them down that.
Just come to Atlanta, because apparently we're the content king.
Content king, we are.
And queen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Diversity is very important.
Actually, one other thought about choosing your own adventure. A lot of email programs require you to have some sort of unsubscribe on your emails. But I know, at least in Pardot, you can switch out the unsubscribe for a preference center, right? And so with your preference center, it's a way to kind of to extend your marketing, your options out a little bit better. So they click on this preference center, gives them a web page with choices of what information do I want, right? Because maybe I'm getting a weekly email, it's just too much. I care about the content, but I don't want that quick. So I can choose something else. Oh, you know what? There's something I'm more interested in whatever, build versus buy, whatever where this kind of content.
Yeah.
I can choose that rather than completely unsubscribing, and then it closes the door.
Yeah, that's is that a new feature?
Relatively. I mean, it depends on the program you've been using. But again, B2C has been using it for a lot of,
We're just
you click unsubscribe, and then all of a sudden, you've got your
why, and would you like it?
Would you write
You're
these
right,
instead?
I have
or
seen
like,
them.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so B2B's caught up with that space now, which is good. So you don't have to completely shut off those communications, but share with them what they need. So, well, some great tips, Mike, for people who are, trying to handle, there's so many things to handle in marketing, as we know. Lead generation is complicated, and it's what every executive board is looking at, is where those leads are coming from. It sounds like you've got a good handle on, you've seen what's worked, and now you're applying that to Powwow Mobile. So they're lucky to have you, Mike.
Thank you. I'm lucky to have them, and I'm lucky to have you too.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Well, it's been lovely having you on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you to our listeners, and for people watching us on Facebook Live. It's great to be able to be on Facebook Live, and for people to kind of.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
I'm live. Wow.
Yeah, you're live.
Good thing I didn't drop any F-bomb.
No, you're good. All good. We have a couple minutes left. No, you're fine. So thank you so much. So I look forward to catching up with you another time.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.